Priez pour le mariage, pour le pouvoir. Oh, le tout, qu'est-ce qu'on dit?
All right. Welcome, folks. Welcome to Talk TV Media Network. Welcome to the Sunday broadcast. Welcome wherever you are watching us from and following us. This is the Sunday broadcast here at Talk TV Media Network. It is extremely cold. I don't know if it is fair enough for me to say it, especially with someone from Canada on the show tonight. But we are experiencing a little bit of snow. I can see it through the window. And just to make sure that I am so right, guys, look at the weather today. Right now, as we speak, it is 2 degrees. It's cold. I want to be in Liberia at this time, man. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Those of you who are following us on different platforms, you can please share the broadcast. Share it, like it, post it, tweet it, blog it, comment, all of that. Because tonight, today, wherever it is, whatever time zone you are in, it's going to be a fantastic, very good Sunday here. I know what I'm talking about because I know the characters I'm bringing for you today on the show. And they are already in studio. So like it, share it. Don't be mean, man. Come on now, y'all share the thing to your friends. Don't sit there and enjoy all the show by yourself. Share it. Share it. That's all you need to do. Again, my name is Sam Gadu. The song that you just heard interprets, say, God, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for whatever, you've given me a wife, you've given me children. Thank you. The opportunities of life. Lord, thank you. That was the meaning of the song. Folks, today, the topic is no other, nothing else but change. What we started last week, it's all about change. Because the year has started, it is very important for us to talk about change. That is the topic today. So share the broadcast, and the best thing to do is to bring the people who know about change. So share the broadcast. I am going to give you a piece of one more little song. As soon as you see me back here, we'll be up and fire up, ready to go. Another song is from Liberia. All the English people, y'all need to forgive me today. This one says, God is not done with me yet. This other song that is coming, it says, God is not done with me yet. That when he's done with me, you will know. When God is ready to showcase me to the world, you will know, you will see. So just be patient. That is the meaning of this song. All right, folks. Welcome back. With no further delay, I will be bringing all my guests today on the show. Welcome to Talk TV Media Network. Again, today is the 14th of January 2024. The year is moving very, very fast. No time to waste. Welcome to the show, my brother. Let me see. Let me remove this stuff from the screen so people will be able to see the names of my guests. Welcome, Brother Dan. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
How is it from your end? It seems like you're in Jamaica or the Caribbean, somewhere in a hot weather.
No, I'm experiencing the same 2-degree weather that you are too. So
okay,
yeah,
got you. Well, I feel very honored to have you as well, Brother Nat Bimba. Welcome to the show, all the way from Canada.
Thank you. The -2 is a joke for me. We are having -32 right now, Celsius.
Ooh.
-32 Celsius. I don't know what the conversion might be, but that's huge.
-32?
Seriously, yeah.
No, you need to get out of there. You need to be in Liberia.
That's when you begin to think about being home.
Wow, that is something.
It's very cold today.
I'm crying over here with 2 degrees weather, and you in minus.
That's a joke. That's
That's about -25. It says Fahrenheit.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
-25. You can see the
-25
Fahrenheit. Yeah, I just quickly
-23 degrees different from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So
it's huge.
Yeah. I don't think I would live. I lived in Canada. Yeah.
Well, I was saying to one of your colleagues that you need to know the ways of the North. There are ways we can manage that.
Well, welcome to the show today, all of you. I feel extremely honored. Those of you who are watching us on different platforms, of course, please share the broadcast. Today, we will be talking about the topic that we started last week, and that has to be the word change. This word, it's a very interesting word. Let me see here. Forgive my tech. I'm not in studio today where I'm so used to my, normal stuff. But this is what we will be talking about today.
yes.
Change. You see the guy with the red block in his hand, and there are 2 letters on that block. And when you remove one block, you see change. When you remove the other one, it says chance. Very, very important. Of course, here is another photo. Change has to do with the old way and the new way, going in different directions. Of course, if you remove that, you have another one, which many of us are used to. When you're in traffic, you're on a highway and you need to take an exit. That means you're making change. You have to exit. You have to move somewhere, and it all comes with change. And the topic for discussion really, Brother Dan and Brother Nat, is why is change a good thing and what makes it difficult? Um, Talk to us. Let me give you the first floor, Pastor Dan.
When we talk about change, especially when this is a time where most people in the world are thinking of change because of, it's a new year and everyone want to make New Year resolution. It's a new year, so they're thinking old things past. I'm going to make a change in my life. I want to do something new. And this is a time where most people think of changes. Unfortunately, a lot of us, because it's a new year, we get into the frenzy of, making promises and New Year resolution without first thinking about it, about the change, about thinking about the reason for the change and all that. We just quickly make it because everybody else is doing it, so let's do it. And as a result of that, it is said that they have what they call a Quitter's Day, which is basically the second Friday of January. Most people abandon their resolution. Most people throw in the towel, say, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to, they started out saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to do these things. And 3 weeks in, they said, I'm going to quit. So one of the things that we as people who want to make changes has to realize that change is difficult. Change requires effort. Change is not something you do flippantly or easily because most of us are in a habit of doing things a certain way, and change requires a constant, deliberate effort in order to shift your life. So that's the reason why people find it difficult to change, because they make the decision quickly. They don't have a reason for it, a good enough reason. They don't think about it. They don't think it through. They don't count the cost, as Jesus says. They don't count the cost. They just say, everybody's doing it, I'll do it too. And as a result of that, in a very short time, they abandon their goal.
Wow.
So, yep.
So, let me bring you in, Mr. Bimba. Knowing the difficulty of change, and also we know most people will understand that change is a good thing. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes, I don't know if I'm right to say it. Sometimes it's not good, but from your perspective, because you have experienced so much. As humans, we evolve and we are used to change. This is something we develop from childhood. It's part of us to do better, to achieve. Why is it that it's so difficult for us as humans, for most people?
Well, first, I want to say thank you. It's good to be on the Talk TV, and it's good to share the platform with. Is it Danny?
Yeah, Danny. Let me get this.
Dan, okay, Dan,
yeah.
And you, Sam. You're doing a good work on your TV talk show. I appreciated the hard work you had to do during the election time and all of that.
I know.
And we needed change in Liberia, and you played a vital role in making that happen. Like somebody said, I will start with that. Change is the only constant. It's the only thing that happens. Unfortunately, we need to know what change we're talking about. Are we talking about personal behavioral change or organizational change, so that we can all be on the same page? And I suppose Pastor Danny is probably talking about personal changes that people make.
Yes.
And there are difficulties that are unique to such change, as opposed to organizational change or society change that may be happening. Yeah. In regards to personal change, one of those changes that I could highlight right now is traveling from country to country during the war up to this present time. Like, you wake up on a new bed that you have not slept on in a hotel. Some people don't sleep because they sleep on a new bed. That's some of the difficulties to talk about change. You move from a bed to another bed. You move in a different environment. a different location, it creates disorientation. And whenever things are not comfortable, when you're removed from your comfort zone to an uncomfort zone, from a familiar zone to unfamiliar zone, all of these adjustments are very difficult. When I first moved to Canada, one of the change that I was afraid was the change of finding direction. I have traveled so much around the world. I mean, those were days that you didn't have the GPS to help you. You got to go by the map.
Right. I remember those days.
You got to read the bearings accurately, or else you go lost for so long that before you know your gas out of the car has so I got so panicked about coming to start a new life in a new city in Edmonton, and so on. So that was my phobia for change. So in other words, change becomes difficult because it brings phobias, it brings feelings, it brings difficulties, disorientation, moving from a familiar to the unfamiliar, not even having friends and resources. You're out of your resource joint, so that creates a disconnect. So change can create that disconnect as well. I mean, there are several other things that we can mention, but those are some of the things that come to mind.
So having experiencing that disconnect, and just like you mentioned, I remember vividly here how I used to print the Yahoo Maps, and and it was not Google then; it was Yahoo.
Yeah.
Where you have to print it and then you have to follow. I was on my way, I remember, to Houston one time from Tulsa, and when I got to Dallas, I got lost. I'm like, it is it's very hard and very uncomfortable. Is it because of that insecurity and it makes us vulnerable? Those stages, is it because of that we are afraid of trying to adapt? Not wanting to adapt, knowing full well though that if we do, the end result is good, but still we don't want to. What? Let me bring you in, Dane.
I think one of the that I've experienced and I've seen with others is that one of the things that I think that people resist change is because there is no what we call a compelling reason. In order to change, you have to have a compelling why. I call it the compelling why. And I use this analogy to explain it. If you go to a doctor and the doctor say you have terminal cancer, you're going to die in a couple of weeks. And the doctor said, oh, by the way, if you do this, and this, 3 things, you live as long as you want. How many of us would have difficulty making the adjustment?
I would change that right away.
We would be like, when do we start? The reason why that analogy, that mindset, that change will become so easy is because now we have a compelling why. We have a compelling reason.
Because I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to die.
Exactly. That's the compelling reason. So whenever we encounter a challenge in our personal life, or organizational or whatever, if we come up with a compelling why, the compelling reason, our change becomes easy. But many of us, let's say we want to lose weight or we want to change our career, many of us have not identified a compelling reason. And as a result of that, when it gets tough, because it will get tough, we talk ourselves out of it. I told friends that, I plan on working out, and I've been doing this now for a year. But when it gets cold, like, 2 degrees or whatever, and I wake up 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, it's easy enough to talk myself out of getting up and go to the gym, right? But if I have a compelling reason enough, then getting up, go to the gym will become easy. So I advise, and when I talk with people about change, I advise them one of the things they need to do, don't focus on the outcome. Focus on finding the compelling reason for the change. If you come up with a compelling reason, then your change will become easy. And when it gets difficult, you'll be able to overcome. So I would say that one of the thing we need to have is a compelling why.
What do you say with regards to that, Mr. Bimba?
Well, let's put that in a nutshell, as in tacit knowledge. The tacit knowledge you have about change is going to impact you, because in the tacit knowledge that you have, you're going to have an experience that's going to move you, like Dennis talked about. You're going to start thinking, because you have to be engaged into what you want to do, to be able to change. And then you also need competence. Can I do it?
Right.
Or can I not do it? What can I do and what can I not do? The moment you get the feeling that, well, with the experience I'm going to have and the reality of what's going to happen, I've got to do it. You have the push and the force to be able to drive yourself forward. The other thing is commitment, which is the area that most people feel in terms of New Year resolutions. The commitment is not there. They can do it for today and tomorrow, and then the next day, other priorities take place over the new priority, and then before you know it, they're out of the zone. And then the other thing is that you got to sign in for this. You have to have a deal. I'm going to do this to get this, so that you focus on the result. You focus on the result. So that's kind of part of the tacit knowledge that one needs to have to be able to manage change. Change is something you need to manage.
You know, I like the aspect the aspect you just mentioned about signing in the deal, and also with what Dan talked about, the compelling reason, right? Would I be right to say, if I find myself in such a scenario where I'm falling short every time I try, what about the aspect of bringing in an accountability partner?
Yes.
With our work to help me, even though I signed the deal, but I see myself falling short every time I sign the deal. Even though I have a compelling reason, I get it, but I'm not pushing it. What do I do in that case?
I think that's a good point you're bringing, but don't forget that change is an individual's act. You have to agree, because I work with people who have mental health and behavioral problems and so on. You need to know what to say and how to say it and what to do around them. Otherwise, you become part of the problem that they have. They begin to resist you. So it's good to have accountability, but the accountability needs to be aware of how to engage and when not to engage, and how to do things with you. Like if I have you as a support system,
right,
and you're there to pound on me that I'm wrong, you become, I'll resist you, because you're part of that change that I'm resisting. But if you're there as to say, well, brother, now you can make it. You know, you did it yesterday. You can do it today. Okay, you failed today, but that doesn't mean you fail tomorrow.
Right.
Giving me that encouragement and giving me the hope and encouragement in what we call the tacit knowledge that I just described, in getting an experience that I'm not judged, not condemned, and not or giving up. That somebody still have a hope and inspiration in me. I tell people one thing: if you look at the whole life of our Lord Jesus Christ, he never condemned sinners. He condemned the act, but he didn't condemn the person. And there's a difference in doing that, right? Like if you're going to be my accountable person, you can't be the judge and the person that's going to support me at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So probably that's where the difference is. One of my greatest change in my own life was the impact I had with one of the late pastors who's gone now ahead into glory. It's like we were students, and students being students were doing all kinds of things and so on. This gentleman will come in our place, will sit with us, eat with us, and never said the bad things that we did. Because if he did, at that point, I was a Sunday school, pastor's kid, church-going kid, and so on. I knew all the Bible to fight my way out.
Right.
I was on the edge to start with him. But when he came in, he was so quiet and silent, and that's how he got an impact in my life. And there was a transformative change, dramatic change that happened that I didn't even know how it happened. And since then, he was always like an encourager, a supporter, or stand by my side kind of person. Like just his look would tell me what he wants to say. He didn't have to say it. So I think this is where accountability comes in. I know there are a lot of expectations in terms of how people should be accountable to one another and so on. But there are times that accountability can be a failure in itself if we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
And everybody has a different personality. There are people who like to be upfront. There are people who don't like to be upfront with things.
Right.
There are people who like the presence. Just your presence can make a difference in how you're supporting me. I don't want you telling me, doing and giving me comments, do, don't, and so on. The moment you get me into that situation, I'm going to become defensive, and we destroy the change. So that's where I'm kind of concerned in terms of accountability, and I want to have the burden with the burden of change as an internalized force. That I agree, I want the change, I'm working with the change, stand by my side.
Right.
And the welfare, and this is something that is so practical, and this is why this is one reason I love bringing the two of you on the show, because you guys are so practical. You know, we're not just going to sugarcoat this thing. This is something all of us have struggled with. Change. You know, change. We see so many people experiencing that, even here in the diaspora and stuff, as in those of us that come from Africa, we get into this culture, trying to get acclimated into the culture, and then we want to live like the Joneses. We want to do things as though, we got it, and we deceive ourselves. We are not honest or truthful to ourselves. But the benefits of embracing change, as in that female, that young man who has a New Year resolution, wherein by the time it hit February or March, it's gone, away from them. It's on a back burner. They put it away and something else has occupied. Is it the sense of the lack of focus that could cause some of these things? Accountability is very key, as you mentioned, and now forcing the change, as well, and being willing to accept it, as you all mentioned, but the lack of focus and goal setting.
Right. Yes.
Talk to us about that, Dan.
The thing that a lot of people don't do well is setting goals. Many of us, I didn't grow up in a family that set goals. Honestly, the way I experienced my family living, there was just going from one day to the next, and most people grew up in families like that. They don't grow up in families where the dad and mom would sit down and say, "This is our goals. These are the things we're working on." So we didn't grow up learning this. Some of us learn it while we're in college, how to set goals. But these are the things that we need to share with others regarding change. How do you set the goals? How do you bring people around you, as Nathaniel was saying, that will truly play a role of encourager as you walk through this journey, because it will get difficult. As I said before, change requires effort. It will get difficult. So setting goals is, we need to, I believe that when we change, when we think of changing, we need to think of, I want to change because I want to grow. And in order to grow, you have to change. There's no way you can grow educationally, grow in your career, grow in your relationship, grow in your marriage, grow in your business without change. So if we keep that in mind, say, you know what, I do want this outcome. I want to grow. So I need to set goals. And these goals, the way we set the goals, we set goals that are attainable, that are within reason, goals that you can measure. These are the things that your accountability partner, the person your encourager will come alongside you and keep you on track, if you will. Not in a condemning way, but in a way to encourage you. Said, now, you remember the goals you set, you remember the things you plan on achieving, paint the picture again for them. Because a lot of times when we start, we have this picture that we paint that motivate us, but along the way we lose sight lose vision of that picture. The encourager should repaint the picture, keep us motivated, keep us, as you said, Sam, on track, on focus. And one of the things that I encourage people to do, which a lot of time may not seems popular, is that you have to assess the people around you. If you want to grow, you truly have to assess the people around you. If you're heading north, if your direction is north, and you have people around you, everybody around you heading south, that's not going to be a good dynamics there. You're going to have to let people go, honestly.
So that's what I'm knowing, your environment. Your environment, your surrounding, and that click, you plug yourself into is very key, because it will hold you back from your goals.
Yes, exactly.
From moving forward.
And many of us, we're told, in almost you're afraid to leave people behind, but regarding personal change, you have to be serious about personal change to move forward. And if your inner circle, if you will, is not on board, is not heading in the same direction you're going, you're going to have to, say, sorry, I'm sorry, I need to, in order to progress, I need to part. But in the past, it's difficult, but that's one of the things that you got to do if you want to make change personally.
Wow. I like that. I like the aspect of, letting some of your friends go, it's difficult, very, very difficult.
It is difficult.
I experienced that, on a very practical level, and it was hard, very, very difficult. Right. But the goal setting aspect, let me bring it at a level where someone who's watching in Jamaica, someone who's watching in Liberia, I want Brother Nat to talk to us, right? I have a slide here, goal setting.
There you go.
Specific. Your goals have to be specific, measurable. Your goals should be attainable, relevant, and time-bound. That young man who is pushing a wheelbarrow, the only thing he has in that wheelbarrow is his little business. That market woman who's selling on the table, saying these guys are talking all of this because they're in America or in a good life. All the stuff they're talking doesn't apply to us. But in general, how can you speak to people like that in order for them to realize where you are, you can make a change from where you are for a better life?
Well, I just wanted to mention on what you just put on the slide there, because that's SMART is a tool that's used for making good goals. And when you use SMART, you can come up with useful goals, not just goals.
Right.
And what that really means is that you're making goals at a bite. How do you call it? How do I put it? At the size that you can bite.
Bite size.
Bite size, right? Okay, at the bite size. If I were to eat an apple, I couldn't take the whole apple into my mouth. As much as apple is going to be good for me, I need to take slices, chunks of it.
That's
to be able to consume all of that apple that I'm eating. So therefore, you have to consider that whatever change you're engaged in has to be specified, specific goals. What can I do now? And it has to be at an incremental level, little by little. Anybody who is involved with change should respect and recognize that incremental change is the way forward.
Yes.
Step by step. Not the 100 steps that you took, but the first step towards the change is significant and should be cherished. It should be encouraged, because that first step is going to help the next step.
Yes.
And that next step is going to help the other step. And that other step.
So you're saying I shouldn't jump any of these steps, ladders going up. I shouldn't jump over any of these.
Yeah. You start somewhere. And then let's not deceive ourselves. And in himself, as a human being, cannot change himself. That's why all other religions are almost a failure, because you do, and you find out you have done nothing. Only when Christ does it They
Mm.
have that completeness. They have that fulfillment. Because Christ is the force of change. He said, behold, all things have become new. In other words, it's a recreation. There's a readjustment of the environment, of the interest, of the commitment, of every other thing that you want to do, that you're starting on a new path. So the newest path that anybody can have is by the help of God. I was doing a course in psychology, behavioral psychology, and this psychologist was talking about how vulnerable a person is. For example, in the form of addiction, it's
Mhm.
like a mighty 500-pound lion holding in its mouth the squirrel.
Mm.
Right? See how undefendable the squirrel is. So
Yeah.
if the power of this behavior or whatever you're having is that overwhelming, how can you change yourself? You're going to need an outside force. And that outside force, for me or for you, is Jesus Christ. When he intervenes and he gets into our life, that life can be changed.
Amen.
So but you said it right. I'm still gonna bring you down to that bracket woman, to that table Yana boy that's sitting on down water, sir. The physical aspect of it. How do I leave from this tiny little? I know you talk about the smart aspect that it starts with baby steps, one step at a time. Sometimes people want it so quick, they do the wrong things because they want to get there quicker. They take the shortcut. We say like a shortcut, and then the shortcut end up becoming a long cut.
Yeah.
A long route. Uh, how do you, from the practical standpoint, help those people?
Well,
Because they all have visions, they all have goals
Yes.
and aspirations.
Mhm.
There's a saying that says persistence overcomes resistance.
Mm.
Persistence overcomes resistance. Like someone would say, you go into church and you're a hypocrite and you don't mean what you're doing and so on. But friend, keep going. Keep going. One day church will go into you as you go into the church. Keep going. Persistence overcomes resistance. So I would say to you as a market boy and so on, keep doing it until everybody knows that this is what you can do. That they will reach a point they will know this is not hypocrisy, this is not fun, this is for real. So keep on doing it.
Wow.
And then that's what brings in time. Time is very important in whatever change we're talking about. The change curve is different for everybody. The way I'm going to change and the way you change is not how other people are going to change. So you want to give it time. You want to be patient with me. You want to be considerate with me. Everybody is on their journey at a different pace.
Right.
Brother Dan, I'm going to bring you into this one as well. This whole aspect of the change. As I was preparing for this, and I figure, all of us, most people, all of us, even me, I'm guilty of that. Sometimes we find ourselves in environment or in groupings, even those of us who are, who have children or colleagues, wives, we most of the time, because of their habits, we want them to change. There's one thing why you don't change. And sometimes it almost looks like, in order for that person to change, you have to change yourself first. That the most powerful language that will help you to see a different environment the way you want to see it, it begins with you. As in, you always pointing finger. You're always doing this thing. You need to let it go. Change this thing. Change this thing around. You're always doing. How do you get to someone, talk to someone to understand, is it that easy for us to for you to change someone else versus the person changing themselves? As in, a couple wants their partner to always pointing finger, do this. You're always doing this. When you practically get to counsel them, you as a pastor, you tend to realize the one who's complaining is the one who is the problem.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit in our experience talking with couples. One of the things that we've done personally is that we try to live a life that is exemplary. We try to live a life as a couple. So when we sit down with a couple regarding, their marriage relationship and whatever regarding change, we're not speaking from stuff that we've read in books. We're talking from our experience. So we can bring, now it's going to be 30 years of marriage experience to the table, successful marriage experience. And we can talk them through changes as it relates to husband changing or the wife changing. One of the things that we encourage couples is that they need to realize that each spouse will change over time. A lot of times, they get into marriage and they're like, well, you're not the person I married. They shouldn't be. You married somebody at 20 years old, 30 years later, you don't want them to be 20, you want them to be 50 or whatever. So change, as Nathaniel said, change is one of those unavoidables. It will happen. So you basically, you want to embrace the change. And as a husband, I don't just tell my wife, you need to change, you need to change. I start the change with me. The change begins with me. So I will be the example, the catalyst for the change. So I'm quick to say I'm sorry. I'm quick to forgive, ready to love. That's the example that you set in your marriage. That's the example you set as a father in the home. You don't just tell the kids, do this, do this, do this. They need to see you model the behavior that you expect from them. So as a change agent, you model it, you show them how to. In the same way, if we look at the gospel with Jesus came, he showed us how to live. He didn't just point us, do this, do this. He said, this is it, follow me. So that's the example that we need to take, especially in the context of our marriage, the context of a dad in the home. You can tell your family, follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me means exemplify the change that you're requesting from them. That's the most powerful testimony. And you don't have to preach too much. Your life is actually speaking the very thing that you're wanting them or encouraging them to do.
Wow. Now, I want us to talk about, folks, those of you who are watching online, various platforms, like the show, follow us, share the broadcast. Today is the Sunday aspect of Talk TV Media Network, where we are having a whole different ball game here, as in, it's not just gospel. Normally every Sunday I'm playing you guys gospel, but it's time to really cook the real food. And as we've begun, and that has to do with change. This topic is so appropriate and so timely because we have just 14 days into the new year. It's not late. Best time to start. As a personal experience, the persistency brother Nat talks about that you have to be persistent. This goes, as he was saying that, I and that's why I kept pushing him to that person in Liberia, to that person in Ghana, Nigeria. There's no way I could have been sitting right here in America today if I wasn't persistent.
Right.
And it has to do with change. I wanted to be here. And I started focusing my mind on it, as in what. But that brings me to this question. Sometimes we have dreams, sometimes we have goals that will bring about change. And you guys talked about that environment. Is it okay to talk to people about your plans, your goals? Because sometimes most people you talk to about your plans and goals can destroy those dreams. I remember my members of my family say I'm too secretive because until I got the visa, they didn't know.
Mm.
Until I was struggling for plane ticket and I could not get a plane ticket. That's when they knew.
You'll see it.
because I had the visa and it was going to take 1 month exact for the visa to expire.
Mm.
Right. And I have turned around, no way. I'm like, man, I gotta talk this thing out. Maybe help will come from somewhere. That's when they knew.
Let me interject there. What you're trying to say is that change can change you. Change can change you. But if I can kind of piggyback a little bit on what we've been saying, what Daniel said was more of doing. Then going back to the wheelbarrow boy who is selling,
right?
Not to write what you want to change. Write it down.
Yeah.
Say it to people if you want to be practical about it. And the environment thing that we're talking about, there's a story I read way back that kind of stays with me. And that is, there's this gentleman who had a family with a home. And everywhere in his home was a sailboat. A sailboat. He had figures of sailboats. Guess what? All his 5 children became sailors.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All his 5 children became sailors. So in other words, if I'm writing scripture, if I'm writing my goals, if I'm reminding myself constantly in my car of what I want to do, I'm telling me, speaking to me, self-messaging me that change is necessary. So I think I wanted to put that into what we're discussing. Doing and probably writing and even putting pictures of what you want.
Yes.
You want to go to New York City? Put New York City on your bed, behind your bed. See it every day. Think about it every day.
That's how Michael said, write the vision down, make it plain.
Write it down.
Exactly. Yep.
Sure.
But what about some people who will kill your dream though? Someone who, because most people don't have that understanding. They have an idea, like a business idea, like some of us, you want to talk it all out. You got to know who you discuss it with. Yes. Because this is something that's going to bring about change to you. How cognizant can people be? How restrictive, how private can it? How do you know this is the person I need to confide into, to be able to, talk to them about things that will bring about change to me?
I think that's a very good point that you're bringing, because there are change inhibitors, people who inhibit change from happening. And sometimes they don't even look like they're bad.
Right.
They look very good, and they probably even have the right meaning and
good intentions.
And push. But that's where you need to be you. Who are you? What is your vision? What is your calling? What is God saying to you? What is your conviction? What does this change make for you? I will give you a quick example. Like when I applied to come to Canada, the gentleman who was responsible for people who left from the country I was in to come to Canada told me, you will never go to any country. And I said to him, not even knowing the implication of what I was saying, the first thing I told him, I am going to travel. You will not stop me. You didn't stop my travel, and you're not going to end my travel. How was that going to happen? I did not know, but I had the conviction that something was going to work for me. And to the point that when he heard I was going, I was already on my way. So don't let people inhibit your change. Have a conviction for it, believe in it. They will say nobody have done that, but that doesn't mean you can be the person who did it. You could be an extra person. You could be a different person who broke the ceiling. So no one can stop me from what I want to do. If I do believe in it and I'm charged and so on, I can tell you with my personality, you see me coming, you know it's going to happen.
Right.
Because I'm not going to give you doubt. Allow you doubt.
Most people are like that. And people who really do, you see a lot of change coming out of them is they don't like to be told, don't do this. You cannot do this. You even challenge them now.
Of course. Yeah.
At that point, that means you've given them a push.
Yes,
You want them to
exactly.
do it.
Motivate them.
Yeah, just to disprove you, they will do it.
Right.
I like that though. But the other side to that is some people will accept it, as in you will
Right.
become nothing.
Mm.
Yeah, they will accept that, and people. We know people that these kinds of words, the power of words, how it has affected them.
Words.
I
mean, the practical example that we can bring to this is the Obama story. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
He was the least of all the candidates that were there. And he believed that he could do it and so on. And he spoke it. Yes, I can. So if you're here and you want that person who is prone to doubt and to minimizing yourself and accepting the negative and so on, that's the message. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And even the scripture says, I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's a powerful line right there.
Wow.
You are taking everything out of my playbook today.
Well, you are without playbook today, Sam. No playbook.
everything I have prepared, you just pushing it like as though you've seen all my slides.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, good. That's good. Awesome.
I like that. I like the conversation. It's so good. And talking about some of the benefits of embracing change, right? Some of the benefits of embracing change. What can we talk to our people about? Those who are watching, online, when it comes to embracing change. I did something here, and I want you guys to talk about it. Some of the benefits. One of them is embracing change drives growth in all areas of your life.
Yes.
Embracing change helps you be adaptable and flexible. Embracing change enables you to validate and reevaluate your ideas and opinions. It helps you to change. Embracing change exposes your strengths. Embracing change lets you learn new things and fail. Embracing change gives you the guts to do more. Embracing change lets you understand setbacks and appreciate success. Talk to us about those. Talk to us. Anyone that sticks to you. Why is it important for us to embrace change?
Well, let me look at it a little bit a different way. I think you want us to go by your script. You want us to be practical on the other hand as well. But let me be practical to what you're saying.
Yeah, right? I want you to be more practical. Yeah.
Let me be practical to what you're saying. And it comes from a story of the Toyota company, the Japanese company. The Japanese company is one of the most successful. And one of the key things that they have learned is to embrace mistake. I read that when there is a fault, they stop all the factory to find out where that fault is so that everybody can learn from that mistake. And only when you're ready to embrace mistakes, you're ready to learn and grow. People who are afraid to jump into the water would never learn how to swim. They're afraid of the water. So sometimes taking the risks or accepting yourself to be the one that failed. Because you see, failure has a way of turning things the other way around for you. It's the other way of learning. It's the other way of learning, somebody says. So I think people who are afraid of change are really, really afraid of not making a mistake, of not being seen as the one who made that error, and so on. And as long as you're in that corner, you'll be there for a long, long, long time.
I fully agree. Fear of failure is one of those reasons why people resist change, don't want to fail. From an environment standpoint, the whoever is at the top of the organization has to create that environment that you're talking about, Nathaniel. They have to create that environment. If they do create that environment, then I can see, where people would embrace, there's not a pointing fingers when a failure occurs. It's not a matter of who did it wrong, but it's a matter of learning. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So this fear of failure, though, sometimes I talk to people. I said, try and fail is no disgrace.
Mm.
You know, I'd rather try than not try at all.
Right, right. Yeah.
But still, people think it's just a saying. But this is something that is so practical. And look at the aspect of the Toyota company that you just mentioned. You know, embracing failure, accepting it.
Right, right.
That aspect of that individual who has an idea of starting a business, and because of the fear of failure, they've been holding that idea for a long time. They have never started. They've never begun. You know, they are more concentrated on the failure than starting, even though, okay, I'm going to start this and I don't know how it's going to look like. Maybe 2-3 months or 6 months down the road, I'm going to fail. How do you eliminate, get rid of, how do you trample or get over that fear factor?
Well, okay, go on then. Go on.
I was just gonna say that we all need to realize that every great achievement must at some point confront this thing that we're concerned about, failure, the unknown. You know, we all have that in our minds. What if I fail? The question we need to ask ourselves, what if I succeed? You know, it's not just failure, but what if I succeed? What would happen if I really do this and it comes out right? If I so-called, if it doesn't work out, then it's a learning experience. And we need to realize when we look at in historians, we look at history and great men and great achievement, great women, all these achievements, when they started out, there was this unknown. Nobody knows how it's going to turn out. You know, you start a business, you don't know whether it's going to be successful.
Yeah, that's it. I'm stepping into the unknown.
Yeah, you have to be able to step into the unknown, which is basically confronting this fear of failure. You have to be able to do that. And everyone that I've read about, people that are very successful now, when they started out, they had this same thing that we all go through. But in spite of the fear, in spite of the feeling, in spite of the what ifs, they decide to say, you know what, I'm going to step out the boat. I'm going to jump in, you know, and I'm going to give it my best shot. And guess what? A lot of them are successful. So that's what I would encourage anyone that's planning on embarking on something new and have this knowing idea that what if I fail? You know, I would tell them, listen, relax. This is not new. Everybody goes through this. This is common experience for all of us. We have, and this is healthy as well, because you want to have this cautionary approach. What if I fail? Okay, then you step back and you plan and you think about it even deeper, and you make your plan even more secure. So that's all part of achievement, how to achieve. You know, so it's nothing new, and it's just something that we have to deal with. You know, the greats of that is.
Two things about failure that you want to know is that it's learned in Thomas Edison, the inventor of the incandescent light.
Yes.
He tried 1,000 times.
Yes.
999 times.
Yep.
He didn't make it, could have stopped him. But because he kept going, which is the incremental aspect of change.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He made it on the 1,000th time. And there today we have light.
Yes.
So there is not going to be light until you keep trying.
Keep going.
And then the other aspect of it that I like is, you know, I don't know if you watch the Nigerian movies and so on, but one thing I see in the Nigerian culture, and I think that's what motivates Nigerians. I understand there are more Nigerian doctors in the United States than any other immigrant group. I don't know how true that is. Yeah, but these guys know how to celebrate. So the celebration of success too is one thing that keeps you going. And I'm connecting now the success of the move of Nigerians is connected to their ability to, or their capacity to celebrate. They know how to celebrate. If a Nigerian leaves from here and goes to Nigeria, the celebration is huge.
Wow.
If they got 1 cent, that celebration is huge. So I think that the concept and the culture of celebration too is a drive that gets you to moving towards change.
To achieve. Right. That's awesome.
Wow. That's good. They do know how to celebrate, even if they win a game.
They know.
I just,
Yeah.
it's that mindset. You know, I grew up with a couple of friends, you know, teachers that used to teach us from Ghana, Ghanaians. And you talk to Ghanaians, they're going to feel like Ghana is the best.
Yeah.
They will always say, we are the best in the whole wide world. We are the best in the whole wide world. You know, and not just professing it, not just saying it, but that mentality that they have.
Confidence.
You know, constantly. Now in West Africa, Ghana is developing.
Wow.
Developing like crazy. You know, it's very key. So it's important what we say. Our words matters.
Yeah.
You know, how we see things, the persistency. How persistent are you? How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
How bad do you want it? That too. You know, that why that you talked about. Then you know, you have to know why. Why do I want it?
Yes.
You know, being able to look beyond. It takes me to the Olympics. Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
When these Olympians are running, they line up. All of them, their mind is to the finish line.
The finish line.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not thinking they're going to stumble in the way. Some of them, they'll stumble and get up and still, because they want to reach the finish line.
Right.
And when this guy is running, he's engaging, you know, you feel like he's having all this fun. You seem bold, like he's not taking this thing serious, but in his head, he is dead serious, and he believes he is going to be number one.
Yeah.
Until he became the world number one Olympian ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's the mindset, how powerful our mind is. Meaning, what we put in here can shift a whole lot of things. So it all begins here.
Let's put it this way. You got to be hungry. You got to be thirsty.
Oh, yes.
If you don't have that thirst, you're not going to strive to look for it.
Right.
And even the survivor in nature, the survivor animals in nature, they look for the water hole because they are thirsty, and nothing is going to stop them from finding that water hole. So I think in terms of achieving and succeeding, people who are hungry, who are really thirsty, will usually do something.
Yep.
And you can see even this in little kids. You know, you watch your children growing. What is their thirst? What is their hunger? Foster that. Encourage that. And motivate and facilitate that hunger that they have, because that's where they're going. That's where they're going.
You think I want to say anything? I'm listening.
We're listening. Yeah. Keep going.
You saying it? You touching it, man. Right? It's that thirst, though. You got to have that thirst. Like even when you bring it physically, you're hungry, and your stomach, your belly is telling you.
Find the food.
Yes.
So I think that's a real good thing that puts all of this into perspective. That if you really want change, if you don't have that hunger, if my hunger is your hunger, you're not going to feel it. But if it is your hunger, nobody's going to tell you. You're going to tell yourself that I've got to go. I have to do this. Or you're going to ask questions. What can I do? Where can I go to find food?
Wow. I like that. That's something I'm going to have to re-listen to this entire broadcast tonight just so I can digest, you know. Folks, this is it. It's about change, and we'll be here Sunday too. We're just starting, you know. You see how good it is for you, for all of us, you know. Iron sharpens iron. You know, I feel like I'm back in the classroom, you know, with my professors, two of them, you know, and this is it. Man, change. It's inevitable. This is something that, you know, and when you look at it though, besides the individual change, and Brother Nat talks about it in his opening, it could be an organizational change, but it starts with an individual, a family change, and it goes up the ladder up to governmental level.
Right.
And this is the reason why we find most of our governments, corrupt, because I feel like the foundation is not laid right. Right? And when the foundation is not laid right, you end up finding people, quote unquote, in governmental positions that don't bring about change. They don't want to see the better good of a society. All they see is themselves, because of the greed, all they can get. So this aspect of the change is very, very important. And I think we have to discuss it by stages, since today is just the personal part of it. Tomorrow, next Sunday, maybe we could get into the corporate world of business, to be able to help people. From there, we can move on into the governmental aspect of it. It's very, very important.
I think what we're saying is kind of exciting, but let's be real. And to be real means change is really painful. Change can be very painful, can be bitter.
He just talks another one from my playbook. Yeah, there it is right there. Y'all see it?
Well, we're speaking experience, Sam.
Yeah.
Experience. like you look at almost all medications that I have taken, the ones that help you are really bitter. Just all medication, they're always bitter. And all the things that really hurt the body are sweet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sugar is sweet, salt is sweet, and all these things, and all of these things have an impact on your body.
Yeah.
They have an impact on your body. So
man, that's so insightful. Oh, that's
good. Changing that way as well. And you read the heroes of faith in the book of Hebrews. You can see that all the guys who made it and who are recorded as having achieved are guys who went through pain.
Yes.
There's no story without pain. Good success story without pain.
Right.
So if you're going to inhibit yourself or you're going to hide yourself from pain and from the elements, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. This is not for me. I would not do that, and so on. Look at our market women. You brought the market thing in the picture. I've seen them wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
To go to the market to be the first person. The early birds catch the biggest worm.
Yeah.
So there has to be pain. There has to be endurance. There has to be the focus on the price, and nothing whatsoever is going to stop me from getting what I want to get. You can hurt me. You can talk about me. You can gossip, rumor me, and you can lie and so on. But I'm going to get there. The important thing is not what you said about me, but how I got there. So I think people would like that are people who were talking about being hungry or thirsty, because they won't listen to what you have to say. They are focused on what they wanted to get.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. That woman wakes up early in the morning out of her comfort zone, her bed. It's and all the risk and going to the market, trying to make sure she catch that early morning worm. Very, very important. And that's how you bring about success, folks. It's about doing those things. Our time is fast spent for our Sunday show. And those of you who are just following, this is Talk TV Media Network. You can watch us online on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, on the website, www.talktvmedia.com. We'll bring you not just religious talk on Sundays or gospel. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about business, healthcare, music, entertainment, sports, all of that. So this is where you catch it. We're a new network. We're growing up. We are encouraged, especially from today's topic. It kind of you guys just kind of awaken something inside of me to see this vision. Man can't talk all, man. Yeah, let me leave it as that. Man can't talk all. But we'll keep the persistency.
Man can't talk small.
Yeah, small. Yeah. But in closing, President Dan, what else do you have on your plate? In closing.
I would encourage your listeners, if they're serious about changing. One of the things that I encourage people to do, just it's basically a few steps. One, you define what you desire. What is the
Mhm.
outcome? What's the ultimate outcome you want?
Yeah.
And then once you define that outcome, you come back and say, what's the compelling reason? Why is it that I want that? I want to go back. Let's say I want to go back to school. Why is it that I want to go back to school? Well, I want a career. I want to have a good income for my family. I'll take care of my kids, blah, blah, blah. And then once you do that, then you can move forward. But I believe that a lot of times we, as I said before, we don't take the time to think about it, to ask ourselves the reason why. As Nathaniel, we all talk about, you got to be hungry, you got to be focused. It takes effort, and it's going to get hard. And the way to move beyond those hardship and to journey through the change is to have as I said, a compelling reason. You have to know why you want it, and you want it bad enough, where you would ignore all the pain, ignore the shortcomings, ignore the pitfall, ignore the fear of failure, all the things that normally hold you back. You ignore that because the goal and the vision that you see is so compelling that will push you, it will motivate you to the end. So I would encourage your audience that we have 365 days, and every day is a new day. It's an opportunity to change your life.
Wow. 365 days. And that
Yeah.
brought to my mind time. That we
Yes.
talked about that before I go to you, brother, now for closing. Time is the only thing I tell people that you and I have in common.
Mhm.
Time is the only thing that I have in common with the King of England, that I have in common with President Biden of the United States of America.
Yeah. Mhm.
But what he does with his time is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
What I do with mine is what matters.
Matters.
But we all have the same time. So what you do, those of you who are following, what you do with your time is what matters to you. How good are you making use of your time? It's very important. I remember this, and I always try to, bring stories from my own experience. How when I came, I was working and killing myself up and down. And every weekend, man, Liberian people will call me to go party. And I never had time for partying. To go party on weekends, I never had time. As a matter of fact, I ended up having 2-3 jobs just to keep myself busy. Because I was laser focused. I knew what I wanted to get, where I wanted to get at. Years gone by, they still partying. Little did they know that at the end of it, I was going to be now the Liberian president. Because why? I focused.
Yes.
And they saw something out of me. They said, oh, that Liberian. This Liberian, we need this one. So sometimes you have to take it personal, folks. You have to be intentional about it. You need to stop wasting time right there. Stop wasting time. You want to be at the top of the ladder right there of success. You at the bottom, you have to have the faith, the effort, the work is involved, time involved. You get out, climb the ladder, stage by stage. You have to do your goal settings, all of that. Goals that are measurable, goals that are specific. We talk about a vision, write it down, that others will see it and run with it. Write your vision down. Remind yourself every day. Change. It's a chance of a lifetime, so that's it. And brother Nat, you have the floor in closing.
Let's pick from the line that you start. Time. Now is the time. Today is the day. Now is the time. Today is the day. Somebody said this year could make a difference for all the years you lost. 1 year can make a difference of many more years that you lost. So now is the time. Today is the day that you can start the change in your life. And I want to close with a story here. I hope we have the time.
Sure.
Very quickly, there's a church in Korea that had pastors, and one of the pastors' wife passed away and went to heaven. And because of the grief of the loss of the wife, the husband, in no time, passed away as well. So the senior pastor was called and told another pastor has died. What can we do? So the senior pastor instructed the junior pastors to plan and prepare for the funeral. But within that period of time, this pastor had gone to heaven, and he saw his wife in heaven. And he was taken from place to place. But he met two people that I want to mention that will help us to know the aspect of persistence. He met his wife, and there was a scar on his wife because of persecution. And the area where the scar was on his wife's head, this pastor who is now transiting saw a huge diamond on the crown of the wife. And he said, honey, you had a scar on your head when we were being persecuted. He said, well, that's the diamond that you see now. The scar turns into a diamond. And he talked to Stephen. He said, Stephen, how did you feel when you were stoned? He said, I didn't feel anything because my focus was for the goal of meeting Jesus. So that's the summary of what we're saying. If you have a focus, you have a plan, the pain is nothing. The hindrances and resistance are nothing. But you focus to what you want to get. So now is the time. Today is the day.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
I gotta say an amen to that. I don't understand y'all watching online. Y'all can't say amen to this thing. Y'all just y'all enjoying it. Y'all not saying the amen. Hey, my people. Yeah, time. I like that. But folks, just like we talk about time, every good thing must come to an end. And we'll be here next week. That is 8 o'clock Liberian time. Every time Liberian time, Sunday, which is 2 o'clock my time, 2 p.m. I don't know what time normally it is in Canada for you.
No, it was 1 o'clock here. 1
o'clock. Okay. So, yes, every Sunday we'll be here trying to make sure, because it is not just about politics. This platform is not about politics. It's to enrich you, to equip you, to challenge you as well. Because the society we're living in, the better you become, the better the society for all of us. That's the importance of this. So, folks, thank you so much for following us. Like I always say on this show, I'd never leave without not saying it. Don't do what I do. Always do what God wants you to do. I appreciate you, Dan. I appreciate you, Brother Nat, for coming today. And folks, you have a blessed week, and be focused. And next week, I hope we'll get some testimonies right here. Until then, Sam Gadu.